All right, if you're a nursing student, you live and breathe the NCLEX, right? Well, what if I told you the way you take that exam is about to get a major shakeup? Let's dive into one of the biggest updates to nursing licensure we've seen in years. Seriously, just picture it for a second. No more pre-exam jitters driving to a testing center, no more weirdly cold, unfamiliar rooms. Just you, your own computer, and that final step to becoming a licensed nurse. Sounds a little too good to be true, doesn't it? Well, it's not.
That's right, you can go ahead and mark your calendars. The NCSBN, that's the National Council of State Boards of Nursing, they've made it official. In just a couple of years, you'll get to choose to take the NCLEX from home. This is a huge deal, so let's really get into what this means for you.
So you have to wonder, why now? Why make such a massive change to an exam this important? Well, it all boils down to one simple word: access. For a long time, just getting to a physical test center has been a huge roadblock for so many people.
And wow, this quote from a Reddit user just says it all, doesn't it? This is the reality for so many students, especially those who are rural or international. Some folks are driving for hours. Others, like this person, are literally booking international flights. I mean, can you imagine the stress and the cost of all that right before the biggest exam of your life? It's a massive burden.
So the whole point here is to just tear down those barriers. By having a remote option, the NCSBN is giving you more choice, more flexibility with scheduling, and you get to do it from your own home where you're comfortable. It's really all about helping more qualified nurses get into the field without these kinds of obstacles.
Okay, so you're thinking, I'm going to do it. I'm taking it at home. What does that actually look like? Well, it's not quite as simple as just popping open your laptop in your pajamas. You've got to create a really secure, controlled space. Let's take a look at the setup.
So before the big day, you'll have this 3-step checklist. First, you've got to run a tech check. That's mandatory. Second, you have to prep a room that's quiet and totally private so there are 0 interruptions. And third, you have to set up what's called a 360-degree view, and this is the absolute key to the exam security.
Now, the tech stuff is pretty much what you'd expect. You know, a normal computer with a webcam and a solid internet connection. No tablets or Chromebooks, by the way. But here's the part that might surprise you. Your phone is actually a mandatory tool for the test. It plays this super important role in the whole proctoring system.
So what on earth is 360-degree proctoring? Well, you'll download this special app onto your phone. Then, during the exam, your phone's camera and your computer's webcam work together as a team. This setup gives a live human proctor a complete wraparound view of you and your entire room, making sure everything is on the up and up. It's a really smart way to keep things secure.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The second you say at-home testing, everyone's mind goes to the same place. What about cheating? How do we know the exam is actually fair and that the results are legit? This is where we got to look at the data. And look, that concern is 100% valid. This comment from another nursing student on Reddit just nails the skepticism a lot of people are feeling. We've all heard stories about people finding ways to game online proctoring, so it's totally natural to worry about the integrity of a huge licensure exam like this.
I mean, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It is for the NCSBN, for your nursing school, and most of all, for you. The good news is researchers have already been digging into this.
To answer that, we actually have some hard numbers. There was a major study back in 2022 that compared high-stakes remote exams to the on-site ones, and honestly, the results were pretty striking. As you can see here, test scores, basically the same. Pass rates, no real difference. And maybe the most important part, the amount of suspicious behavior flagged was low and nearly identical for both groups.
And it's not just about cheating. Check out this chart from that same study. When they asked test takers about their actual experience, stuff like how friendly the proctor was or how noisy the room was, the satisfaction ratings were super positive and almost exactly the same for both at-home and in-person testing. So the bottom line is, the data is telling us that remote exams are just as fair and that students have just as good of an experience.
But look, data is only one part of the story, right? Taking an exam like this at home brings a whole new set of pros and cons you've got to think about. It's this new trade-off between a different kind of convenience and a different kind of hassle. The trade-off is pretty clear. On one hand, you get the comfort of your own space, and you get to ditch the stress and cost of travel. But on the other hand, you are now responsible for your own tech. A spotty internet connection? That's on you. And while you get more flexibility, you also have to deal with that weird psychological feeling of being watched in your own home. And that feeling is real. This quote from someone who took part in a remote proctoring study just says it all. Even when you know you're not doing anything wrong, just being aware that you're being recorded and watched by a live person can be distracting
and for some people, pretty stressful. Okay, so we've got all this information. What do you do with it? What does this all really mean for your path to becoming a nurse?
Starting in 2026, this is the big decision every single nursing candidate is going to have to make. And listen, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's all about what's going to work best for you, for your personality, where you live, and your home setup. And this right here is the most critical thing to take away from all of this. I want to be super clear. Whether you are sitting at home or you are at a Pearson VUE Center, the NCLEX is the exact same exam. The questions, the way it's scored, the adaptive format, none of that is changing. So what does that mean for your study plan? It means it stays exactly the same. Keep doing what you're doing.
At the end of the day, this change isn't about making the exam easier or harder. It's about putting the power back in your hands. It's a choice that empowers you to pick the environment where you know you can do your absolute best work.
This move by the NCLEX is a really big leap into the future. And it makes you think, right? What else is coming? As technology keeps changing everything from patient care to how we get licensed, how is it going to evolve your journey as a nurse? It's a pretty exciting future to be a part of.